Okay, hi everyone. Welcome once again. So right now we're going to be looking at support and resistance. So how do you draw your support and resistance lines? How do you draw your support and resistance lines? It's really simple. First of all, we like to understand what support and resistance lines are. These are lines or these are zones or areas where price finds um, either rest, support, where they reverse, where they turn back. There are zones in the market where price tends to reverse, where price tends to either reverse or find support or breaks away. You know, I don't know any other way to define that, but I can only show you what I mean. Now, if you look at this chart, for instance, you can notice that price keeps going up and down. It goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down. Every place that you find price reach and then turns back, that place is your place of either support or resistance. For instance, this is a good support and resistance area. Why? Because if you notice, price actually went to that point. It couldn't go further, then it came back. This can be tagged another support and resistance line. Why? Because price came in, it couldn't go further, it came back down. It went up, it couldn't go further, it came back down. This place too is another support and resistance line. Sorry, another resistance line. Bear with me. I'm gonna explain support as well. Another support resistance line. It goes up. It couldn't break it. It came back down. It went up again. Couldn't break. It came back down. When if you look at here, it finally broke it. This one too. Well, I'm gonna draw that again because it is another point. It went up. It couldn't find. It couldn't break it. It came back down. It came back down. Another one is found here as well. It went up. It couldn't break it. It came back down. It broke it and came back down further. Now, if you, it's possible for you to find support and resistance all over the charts. If you want to draw support or resistance on the charts, you would realize at the end of the day that you have all of your charts, filled with lines, and you don't really want that. And support on the other hand, before I go further, is where price came in and found rested like a floor. It came to this point, it couldn't break it, it went back up. It came to this point, it couldn't break it, it went back up. The same thing happened here as well. It came down here, it couldn't break below it, it went back up. So price, where price sits on or stands on is the floor or support, and then where price um what other word can I use now? Tries to jump above is, well, ceiling. You know the meaning of the word ceiling. So where price finds a ceiling is your resistance line. Now, the reason why we would not draw resistance lines and support lines all over the chart is that will not really help us, because there are things that are called the minor resistance lines and the major resistance lines, minor support lines and the major support lines. So you want to, as you draw your support and resistance line, you want to make sure that you identify the support and resistance, the major and the major support and resistance lines, because these are the areas, these are the places where every other trader will be looking at, and that's what it's all about in the market. We are all bulls and we are all bears in the market. So if I find this place to be a support line as I'm going to, or a resistance line, I'm going to want to take my profit here and then enter my sell to start coming down. If five of us feel the same way, that is what is going to happen. But if you're the only one that is seeing it as a place for continuation, you realize that by the time you enter here, you keep buying, and most of us will have come down when they sell. You find out that you'll be here, you'll be hung here, you will not leave this zone. Why? Because you've entered, you saw wrong when we all saw something else. So it's all psychological. So it's a major, that's why you have to identify your major support and resistance. That way you move with the crowd. You're not trading on your own. You're not trading against the trend. You trade with the trend. Now, how do I find my support and resistance line? First of all, I like to look at things from the higher time frame, because that reduces all of the noises. You have to delete all selected. When you go down to your lower time frames, what tends to happen is that you find out that there's so much noise in the market, so many things happening in the markets. That's why you find a lot of minor resistance, support, and resistance lines. But what you're really looking for are the major ones. That is why we always look at things on the higher time frame. Even when you're charting as well, you're drawing your charts, you're trying to make analysis, you want to go to the higher time frame so you can have a global picture, a bird's eye view of what's happening in the market. So you want to see what the trend is. Like I was telling you about the AU charts, AU trade and the NU trade. What happened was this: I looked at it on the weekly time frame, and I narrowed it down to the brought it down to the daily time frame, before I began to see it. Now I normally like to start on the daily time frame to really have a bird's eye view of what's happening. From just looking at this, I can see resistant lines here. I can find one here, because I could well call this a false breakout. Yeah, and I can find my supports maybe somewhere around here, but I could just keep it at the last. Either that or just do this. So what I've been able to do now is box this price in. I have boxed this price in. If I wanted to be to draw more on the higher time frame, I can still draw it here. Say this is still another support and resistance. Why? Because price went there, turned back, went there, turned back. When they finally broke it, came back and retested. So that is all I can. Well, I can still go further and say, okay, let me find one here as well. 4, not too bad on the higher time frame. Normally I find 2. I just look for 1 or 2, 2 or 3. 4 is not so bad too. So I move down to my 1 hour, 4 hour time frame and see if I can find more support and resistance lines. And sure enough, I can still find some. Find this one. And one other thing you have to bear in mind is when you're looking for your support and resistance, that line has to be, if you look back, always look back when you trade, you will realize that that line that you identified, price kept respecting that line, or either respecting it or breaking it, or found something interesting about that line. Let's take this one for instance. If you notice, we go back. I hope this okay. My chart doesn't go so far away. Now, if you look back, look left, look at what happened. Price came here, did a false breakout and came back. But if you look behind, look at what it did. It came here, tested it too, tested it. It kept hovering around this area. In one way, you may call price support and resistance a zone, an area, not necessarily a place, because I may find my own support and resistance at this point. Yeah, someone else may decide to find theirs at this point, this area. Another person can say, okay, I want to find mine at this area. So you see, it's instead of it being a place, a line, it would be more of a zone. So it means if I was to trade this place, if I was to take this trade, as price is coming, let's assume I was trading this area, I was making this trade, so, and it was coming, and my target was in this area. I would not wait till I get to this line before I take my profit. I can decide to take my profit here. Why? Because I don't know where everyone else is trying to take their profit. I don't know where big money or smart money, whoever market movers are trying to take their profit. So I won't wait until I get to this target. I'll probably take my profits around here. Remember, every profit is profit. It doesn't have to be huge. What you're looking for in the market is 10 pips anyway. So that's why support and resistance ends up being a zone, an area instead of a line. Because you all have different definition of support or resistance. So that said, I'm just going to delete this one. What else did I put on there? I'm going to delete this one as well. So always look back and notice, see what price is doing, where that line that you just called your support and resistance. How many times has price come there? Is it something that is it an area that is relevant to price? How is it relevant? Because how would you know it's relevant? Because you notice price keeps coming there. So for me, this is valid. Yeah, this is valid for me. So I come down to the 4 hour, like I said. I notice that happening. Even from the 4 hour, I can even decide to change my 1 hour time frame. My daily time frame to capture, to encompass more support and resistance lines if I choose. Probably draw it closer or something, whatever I choose to do. Yeah, like I said, it's not a place, it's a zone. So I can decide to take this up a bit, just to capture that. This is there. I can move this even higher. Yeah. But most times when I want to enter my trade, I come down to the 1 hour chart as well to just see what's happening. Okay, I can notice this place is an area of interest. Let me see what happened at the back. Let me put something here. An area of interest. If I go back, I should see price come back to test that, please, or something. Let me change the color so I can better communicate that. So if I go back, if you notice, what did you notice? Price kept hovering around that area. I may even decide to move this up a little bit. See? So if I go back even more, I don't know why my chart doesn't go too far away. Okay, maybe it's an NZD thing. But anyway, look at price kept coming to that area. It got to that zone and came back, got there, came back, got there, came back, got there, came back, got there, came back, and finally, what did it do? It broke out of it. So price could do that to an area, to a zone. It may break out of a zone that it's been testing. Now, one thing I want to submit to everyone is this. The more price tests a zone, the weaker or an area, the weaker that area becomes. So if it's tested it 2 or 3 times, just know that it's getting ready to break it. So you have to pay attention to that zone. And remember the breakout strategy. Once it breaks out of the zone, you wait for it to come in and retest that zone. Then you enter for either a sell or a buy and ride it to the next zone. That's the law of breakout. Price breaks the zone. The moment it breaks that zone, it becomes a place of interest. Some people like to enter on the breakout. I say wait for it to retest, come back to that zone, and then jump into it. Now, let me see if I can. I'm trying to remember what trade. I think this. Okay, this was the trade. This was our trade. This was what this did. Look at what this price did. It came out. It broke out of it. It tested. See how many times it tested that zone. Okay, it broke out of this and it misbehaved anyway. This was a false breakout. And normally, every time price does this kind of false breakout, it negates all of these initial tests. So first of all, look at what happened after it broke out falsely. Came back, tested once, tested twice, tested 3 times. And on the 4th time, what did it do? It broke. And what did it do again? It came back to retest it. This was when we entered our trade in. That's what I saw and told everyone to jump in. And then since we've been we've been milking these markets. How many pips have we gotten from here already? 172 pips already from when we entered. You know? Yeah, so it does that. It will break a zone, you know, a support or resistance area, then come back and test it. Sometimes it may not come back to test that zone. It may just come do a little pullback or create a flag, something I'm going to teach us as well. It will do a flag. Okay, that's it. It will create a flag, you know. So not necessarily, it may not really come back to test it like this. Probably just do a little pullback, then it will drop. Yeah. Now, trust me, you may not, if you've not been doing this before, you may not get it on this first sitting. Yeah. This is just support and resistance. I don't want to burden you, give you too many information, but just know that that is how I identify my support and resistance line. First of all, I have to go to the higher time frame. I look for another pair. Can't remember. I think I was using this to practice. That's why it was just complicated. Okay, something else. Okay, this is. So, what happened? I will go to my higher time frame and identify my support and resistance line. Clearly, with this one, it's very obvious. My support is very obvious. You see, this was the false breakout, so I don't really want to bother about this one. On the daily time frame, that is. Then I can easily notice my resistance. Some of them is easy to see them when you pick them up. For some of them, it's easy to actually pick them up and see what's happening. I can see you people. Sorry about that. It's easy to pick up. I know my wife was trying to show me some love in front of the camera. Everyone can see you. Bye. Bye. Okay. Now it's easy to see them easily like this on some of the trades. On some of them, it's not that straightforward. You know. So first of all, identify it on the higher time frame like this. Then you move to your lower time frame, H4, and see if you can pick up more. A little messy, but I can still see some. I still see areas of because it came here, did that, broke him. It was a messy market anyway, but then fine. Can pick up some more from here. Let me see. But let me go to the 1 hour time frame to see if I can find something even better. Okay, that's some good support here. Now, what would be of interest to me would be where price is at this point in time. Not really all of this one now. So I identified based on what is happening right now, my support and resistance. So this is where price is at this point. So if I was to trade this one, yeah. So now if I look left, I will see that this line will be relevant to price. And sure enough, it is. I can't even zoom in any further than that. See? We go back. Okay, let me change the color so make it something else so can. If we go back, see? Price kept coming to that zone, that area. It's an area, a zone that is relevant to price. The same thing happens to this one as well. It came back, it tested it, you know, jumped up from there. This area as well, it's relevant to price. So once you've identified it, you know, on the higher time frame, you will notice that it will be relevant on the lower time frame as you go down. Now that's one way I use to identify support and resistance. Another way I use to identify support and resistance is through the help of an indicator. I use an indicator from a friend of mine called Trevor Pips. You know, so he's created this indicator that all you need to do is just to drag and drop it on the charts, and then your support and resistance lines are created for you automatically, so you don't need to do anything, and they are created with the time zones on it. I'm gonna bring it to you now. I created with the time zones on it. If you're on the daily time frame, you will see. If you're the weekly time frame, you will see it. So permit me to pass presenter to myself. That would be, I should be a presenter number. Okay, that's it. Just give me a second, please. Let me okay. So you can see this. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the one I'm talking about. Okay. Now look at this. Okay, I still have a lot of things on that one. Okay. So this is a support and resistance indicator I'm talking about. So once I just drag this onto the chart, look at what it would do. You see what it did? It broke everything down for me. It gave me the H1 support, gave me the H4 support, gave me the D1 support, gave me the weekly support and the monthly support. So all I need to do, sorry, can you see what I'm showing you?
Yes. What was the name of what you added there?
So it's called the Trevor support and resistance indicator. I'm going to share with everyone. I'm going to share with you so you can have it on your computer as well. So if you go to the smaller time frame, you will see it. So you don't even need to draw these things yourself. They draw it for you. You know, the indicator draws it for you. Go to the higher time frame, you see it there. It's already identified your support and resistance lines. It's your daily support, daily resistance, and this is your daily support. If you go to the weekly, this is the weekly resistance. If you go there to identify that for you as well. That's your weekly resistance, and that's your weekly support is here as well, and your monthly support. If you go to the monthly as well, to identify that for you, your monthly resistance and your monthly support. So it's very dynamic. It's very powerful. It's a very, very powerful tool. I have two of it, but I really like this one better because it gives you this time frame, which is what you need. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that your support and resistance lines, they are your take profit targets. They are your take profit zones or your stop loss zones. They are places you decide where you want to take profit, places you decide where you want to put your stop loss. What do I mean? For instance, let's assume I was here. Market was going, market was here. Yeah, it was at this point. Now, no, it was probably here. Now, if I see market break a support or a resistance, I can trade it because it's broken that resistance. I know that it's going to go to the next resistance again. So I will trade it. I will keep trading. When it's about approaching this resistance, this other resistance, I can take my profits either before it gets there or once it gets there, or I can put my profits in this resistance line. So maybe I was coming here. My take profit would be at this point, this area. Why? Because that's the next resistance area, or line. And if it breaks that line also, that's telling me one thing, that is definitely going to the next line. And sure enough, what did you see? It went. So I will put my take profit at this point. If it breaks this point also, I know that it's going to the next level. So I'm going to put my take profit. I'll keep moving my take profit. like that. But notice what happens. Every time it got to a particular zone, what did it do? It kind of did a little consolidation, a little pullback, before jumping again. It got here, it consolidated a little bit before jumping. Look at what it did again here. So you can actually trade one particular pair and be satisfied with what it's going to produce because price has memory. If it did it before, it's going to do it again. So if you notice that this is what's going to happen, so you wait for it to do this, form this consolidation, and the moment it breaks out, you enter your trade and ride it to the next resistance zone. And once it gets there, you can take your profit and wait for it to break out again. Now it's here. So what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for a breakout. So I can sit on my hand at this point and wait for it to break out again. Why? Because I know it's probably going to go to the next zone. Yeah, let me see what that next zone might be. If I break this, whoa, you know how much profit, how many pips that would be? 300 plus pips. So if it breaks this zone right now, we're money. If it breaks this zone because it's consolidating at this point, this H1 is here right now. I'll sit on my hand, I'll just wait to see what it's going to do. The moment it breaks this, I'm taking that ride and I'm taking it to the next, because that's the next zone. That's the next resistant line. Mind you, it may not always be like that. Market has the right to do whatever it wants to do. Can do whatever it wants to do, but 90% of the time it respects this strategy. If it breaks the zone, it's going to go to the next zone. Probably do a little pullback consolidation or something, or comes back to test it, then go to the next zone. That's what it does. That's why we encourage naked forex. If you've heard that before, we don't really use a lot of indicators, because they don't do us no good. Some of them, come in late while the price actions have already happened, So just watch what has been happening. Look at what happened before it came to that zone. I would like to see this as a zone as well, because it probably did that sometimes. So it probably came here. I would like to see that as a zone, probably pivot point or something, in the middle of the U movements, And what did it do? It broke it, went to the next zone, consolidated, did all it had to do, then it broke out. And what did it do? Went to the next zone, consolidated, broke out, and it's doing the same thing now. So this is a trade to watch for some of us that are not in AU and NU. This is a trade to watch as well. Now, it can also do something. Sometimes it doesn't mean because it's got into that zone, it's always going to break to the next zone. It can reverse. That is what that support and resistance line also helps to do. It helps it to reverse, helps it to create a point where either it finds a base, finds the ground, a reason to go back up, or a reason to come back down. I'm still going to teach you supply and demand, which is a very, very, very powerful tool to have. In fact, if you understand supply and demand, you don't need any other thing, because that's all that can just help to support your risk and your support and resistance lines. So once you understand supply and demand, you don't really need too many any other strategy. Every other thing would fall in place. Now, like I said, if it gets there, it can retrace, it can come back down. It doesn't always have to go back up. It doesn't always necessarily go back up, go up. It sometimes comes down. Let me see if I can find some of the other trades that do that. If I drag this here, wow, that was a massive drop. Woohoo! Could you imagine? Just how many hours? Just 2 hours. 123 pips. Wow. So drag that and drop that there. See what's happening. Yeah, I'll give it a look at. Now look at what I said. It went to that resistance zone. What did you see? It didn't break it. What did it do? It reversed and it came tumbling down like the wall of Jericho. And by the time it got here, what do you notice? It found a base again. It didn't break it. So what is it trying to do? It's going back up. This is where it's going to now. It's found a base. So we can be looking at another 50 something pips on this move on the upside. So price can do that. It can go to a zone, and instead of breaking it, it comes back down. And then instead of breaking that line again, that zone that it's going back to, it finds a base or support and then turns back up. Now, what is happening right now is price is trying to correct itself. That's another thing that I want us to understand. Anytime there is a massive candle or a big move in the market, mark that zone, because price is always going to come back to that zone. Anytime there's a massive move in the market, forming a giant candle, a big candle, a huge candle, watch it, because price is always going to come back there. It happens almost every time. That's where your supply and demand comes into play. Now look at this. If you look at this on the higher time frame, you see it better. See that move? This price is coming back here. It's definitely coming back to correct this. Even if it's not coming back today or tomorrow, by the next time you probably come here, you'll notice that price would come back to that zone. I'll show you a typical example. Look at that drop. It dropped the giant candle. What did you notice? Price came back there. Came back to that zone. That was the zone. Excuse me. Delete that. That zone. This is a zone. What did you notice? When price dropped out, it came back there. When it dropped, it came back to, well, almost at that zone. Then we did all of that and came back fully to that zone. It dropped again. What did you see it do? It came back there. Yeah? And it has dropped again. What do you think it's going to do? It's going to come back there. Price action. No indicator. You're just looking at the market. What is market doing? Now let me look at somebody said I should look at GU. Yeah. Okay, this is a good trade. What is GU doing now? GU is you see what happened in the market. See what it's doing. It's doing that. It's retracing. I mean, it's doing a pullback and dropping again. Dropping, doing a pullback and dropping. Did a little bit of consolidation, then.
Mike,
sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a question for you while you're since you're looking at that, because this is not having to do with what you were working with, but my Boss 100 is activated. So do we delete the buy stop?
No. Let's hold on to it. The only time you want to delete your orders is when you are in profit. Because that trade can actually go into profit, probably give you only 10 pips or 20 pips, then come back down, take everything away, and then starts coming down. So you want to leave your sell orders or whatever orders not activated so that it can come in and take over from where the other one stops. So you want to come back to that trade after 12 hours to see what it did. If it maintains that momentum and you picked up your 100 pips, then you can go ahead and delete that. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So now look at what's happening here. It dropped and it did a little pullback, drop again. So it's doing the same thing again. Now, two things can happen here. It might find a base, a reason to start going back up, but we may not always know what it's going to do. So we just wait in the market and see what's happening. So you may find a reason to go back up. So there's form a zone here. That means there's a giant candle out of here. It came back after how many days or whatever, came back and tested it. Remember what I told you. So it may not always happen immediately, but it will always happen. It will always happen. It did that giant move, and it came back and tested that zone. So it may break it or it may go back up. So you want to watch that zone. Now, a trade I wanted us to look at tonight was the one Scott is currently on now.
Okay.
Let me see what I can find it. CGP1. The market watch I'm looking for. Yes, that's market watch. Yep. Very nice spread. 8 pips. Okay. Now, almost the same thing UJ was doing. I mean, UC is doing. Now, look at what we looked at earlier. Sorry? Look at what we looked at earlier. Price came up, did this solid movement. Now we have two things happening now. There are two things. Let me put it on the 1 hour chart. I mean the daily chart. Look at what happened. Do you see this? Some of the guys that have been here with me, do you understand what this was? Price. It is this massive jump. It jumped up with this, leaving this massive candle, this huge candle. And what did you see it do? It came back to retest it. That's all. Now, this is what normally happens. When price comes back to a zone, maybe a zone that is just jumped out, it will come back and retest that zone once and then jump back up. It does that most times. If it's the first time, it's a fresh zone. If you will agree with me, it's never tested that zone. Let me see.
Mike, was that the 1 day chart?
Yeah, that's the daily chart. Yeah.
Okay.
So if this happened here, you see price came back to that particular zone. So we're expecting this price to touch that zone, then go back up to the next supply zone. Sorry, let me identify that next supply zone. The next supply zone would be this area, because you see what price, there are two areas now. Price came to this part, price came to this area, and there's another zone on this area as well. So all of these are zones that price found found rest in, or found support, if you will. So these are the places that we're expecting price to get to. So for Scott,
can you slide your chart over just to the left a little bit? It's underneath the bubbles. Okay.
I don't know if okay, let me see if I have to hold on. I have to hide something. Hide bubbles. Let me hide. Can you see it now? Can you see it? Is it better now?
A little bit, yes.
Okay, let me see.
Now I can see it. I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got rid of the bubbles.
Okay, fantastic. Oh, okay. All right. So see what happened. So if price came back to that zone, this was a good zone. I would believe that it's done coming down. I want to believe that it's done coming down because it's tested it, it's come to touch it, and it went back up, and for some reason it should have been going back up. If you ask, I know all around everyone, most of the places that I've seen, most people, I almost called this as a buy myself. Why? Because price came down to this zone, so I expected it to go back up, but somehow, I know because you guys have heard about the Dow Jones incident just not very long ago. That's probably the reason why this happened. This fall. Sometimes market these things can happen in the market. Your technical analysis just don't play out. Even after you've looked at the market, you've looked left, you've done everything. These things happen. This was a good trade for a buy. It should have gone to where it's supposed to go, but because of some incidents in the market, this happened. So now we're expecting this trade to go back up. It has every reason to. It should find base where it is, because it's come back to this. This is another good supply demand zone. It's come there, so we expect this trade to come back up. One thing that trade market does is this: it does a fall or a drop, it does a base, and then it does a drop. That's where we get our flag from. For some of us that know about that, we trade with flag. Then it does drop. It can do a drop, do a base, and then do a rise, a jump. That's why some of us when we see this happen, we say, okay, it's a flag, it's coming to a flag, I'm going to jump in. No, don't jump in yet. Wait for that market to give you a signal that it's coming down, because it can do this. So market can do the opposite as well. It could rally up, do consolidation, or consolidate, or find base, as they call it, and then rally, or do the opposite as well. Rally, base, and then drop. So this is what we're expecting this market to do. A drop, it's found a base, yeah? So we're expecting a rally now to the next supply zone. So hopefully, Scott, this would do you good, hopefully, because it's already showing signs of movement to the upside. Hopefully you get out of this trade in a good profit.
Sounds good. Thank you.
No worries. So that's what we're looking at. And most importantly, just know that you need to have a plan. You can't allow the market to keep you in captivity, hold you down, to retrace beyond what your account can bear. Have what they call is it tolerant? I'm looking for the word now. Threshold, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Have a threshold, a loss threshold, so to speak. If, for instance, now you're in a trade and it starts turning against you, either you can decide to have a £50 threshold or a $100 threshold, where, okay, once it hits $100, I'm not staying in this market again. I'm out. Can decide to have that.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, please.
A lot of people, I've been trading a month.
Yeah.
A lot of the people say we're going to get, or try to get 10 to 12 pips out of one trade, but you'll set your stop loss 50 pips below where you enter to get 12 pips up. And that, so you could be giving up, let's say, $5 to get $100. That makes no sense to me.
That makes, to be honest, really, if you ask me, this is how I trade. Now, every trader is different if they have different styles of trading. Personally, I'm trading the market. I don't use stop loss. My mind is my stop loss. My eyes is my stop loss, because this is my day trade. I have a threshold. My stop loss, the market can go against me. If I'm looking for 10 pips, I won't wait till the market goes against me 80 pips. That's too much for me. It's too much. 40 pips is too much as well. That's why before I take a trade, I have to be sure that that trade is going to be a winner. If not, then I'm getting out of its 20 pips, 20, 30 pips loss.
Okay.
Yeah, because now if you're giving yourself a stop loss of 80 pips or 90 pips, it means you're gambling. You're not sure what you're doing. That's the way I see it. So if your stop loss, you're saying that the market is you might as well just have entered in a sell, or what? If you are looking at, if you're trying to do a buy and you're saying, okay, it might turn against me 80 pips, then why don't you just do a sell instead?
Correct.
That's mindset.
That's the thing. That's what I haven't understood.
I don't do that large stop loss. I don't use stop loss, but I make sure that I watch my trade and it doesn't retrace against me 60, 70 pips. That's too much for me because anything can happen. You know. So what I advise is before you enter a trade, at least get 80 to 90% confirmation that that trade is going to go in your favor. You know. But if it doesn't go in your favor, be ready to cut your losses early enough. Otherwise, you're going to stay there and it will be too difficult for you to cut your loss because probably your end tip, 1,000 or 2,000 pounds in negative. By that time, you wouldn't be able to let go of 2,000 pounds. And the more you stay, the longer the loss, you know. So, yeah, don't do too much of stop. Don't put too large a stop loss before you enter a trade. Ensure that it's going to give you what you need, you know. And another thing is this: stop losses. The way I see it, stop losses are there for the big boys, smart money. There's a video I was just watching today. The guy was telling us, I think I should share that video. It's a seasoned trader as well. You know, he was telling us that stop losses, they are there for the markets or smart money, big money to hunt. And he was saying that they see the stop loss. Your brokers see. If I used to feel that way, that if I set a stop loss, I feel like they are watching me. They know where my tolerance level is, and they're probably gonna hunt it. You know, so I don't set that stop loss. I leave things open. I know where my target is. I set my target, but I don't set my stop loss. Except maybe it's a trade I'm probably gonna leave. I'm gonna do like there's a strategy we're using here. You know, but even that one, we don't do our stop losses that high. You know, there's a strategy we have. We set the entry price, we set the stop loss, and we set that trade on two sides. So if for some reason it turns against us, it's gonna kick us out of the market on one side, but it's gonna take in the other side and make us profit. So we do that as well. But most times, if I'm trading on my own, I don't use stop loss, except I'm doing that strategy. Let alone use a high stop loss. Okay, so now we're looking at this trade. I hope it goes to your to the next support, the next resistance zone, and then makes you back your money. Because I know how today was just really a bad day for a lot of people because of that massive drop. Yeah. That said, does anyone have any question before we continue? If at all, let me see how we're doing on time. Oh, I forgot what I wanted to do. I wanted to record only just one session. But okay, but I don't think I've gone too far away. I'm still on support and resistance. So do we have any question at all? Anyone?
No, you're going to send us how to get those bars, those stop and resistance bars.
Yes, I will do. Immediately after I finish. I'm going to direct you to where you can find it. It's on the chat already. I've already put. Well, I'll probably reshare it so you can see it. All right. So any other question? I know some of us have already done this. Everyone has already done this. We already know what's up with supply and demand, support and resistance. But do you have any question? No. Okay, I'll take that as a no. Okay, so let me stop the recording now.